I'm Gary Toushek, co-author of Abused by the New York Yankees, and together with my co-author Paul Priori, we're proud to celebrate the first anniversary of publishing our book. It's a milestone in a number of ways. This tell-all book about the Yankees has apparently paralyzed many people in the sports world, especially the ones who report on Major League Baseball, because they really don't know how to react to it. All of baseball is aware of this book. We made sure of that by sending letters to all the team owners and their top executives, to all announcers and commentators of games on TV, radio, newspapers, and online. All mainstream media across the U.S., as well as Canada, some overseas, know about this book. And yet, almost all of those people seem to be reluctant to say anything about it. Why? Here's what I've been able to find out. Baseball reporters and bloggers have been shocked and stunned by this book. One reporter said to me, "This is unbelievable. The Yankees would never do those kinds of things." I pointed out that not only do we have evidence that the Yankees in fact did those things, there's a complicated lie detector test in the book, and Paul scored 100% on it. But the reporter still didn't want to believe it. Other reporters I talked to were at first reluctant to say anything, but eventually they admitted that they didn't want to believe it either. And that's an important distinction. At first they didn't believe it. Then when faced with all the facts and evidence, they didn't want to believe it. Why? Various reasons. One is that the Yankees have a legacy, a long tradition of famous players who've been worshipped like idols by their fans. And this book pokes holes in some of that history and shatters the myth. And that really seems to upset some baseball lovers. Another reason they don't want to believe it. It's a fact that the majority of mainstream media websites have an office or head office in New York City, and they're afraid to say anything about this book, because if they do, their reporters could lose access to the team, to the players. They'd be shut out of the loop. They could lose ad revenue from the Yankees organization. It's all about business. There's a lot at stake for the media by even mentioning our book, so they remain silent. The mainstream media are corporations. They have their own agenda, and they're notorious for leaving out a lot of the truth, because they only report what they can make money from. It's plain and simple. That's why most people haven't heard about this book yet, even though it's been out for a whole year. The big media companies are shutting us out because we're too risky a story for them, because there are consequences to telling this truth. So they don't want any part of it. They'd much rather say nice, fluffy, supportive things about the Yankees. It's a better relationship for them to have with the team. And there's another insidious thing going on. A blogger said to me, "Paul was just an employee, so why should we care? If he was a player who'd been abused by other players, that would be news." I heard it in the blogger's tone. This blockhead jerk was an ignorant homophobe. Of course he'd never admit it, but it's the way he said it. What he was really saying was, "Paul's just gay, so who cares?" But as a friend of mine said to me, "Hey, you're dealing with the sports world, stereotypical homophobes." He's right. Not only are we dealing with reporters and their editors and owners who don't want to rattle the Yankees' corporate cage, we also have to be concerned about their blatant discrimination against homosexuals, who, I remind everyone, are human beings and deserve the same consideration and respect as anyone else. It's important to note that after 1 year, no one has sued us. No one has even threatened to sue us for the content in this book. Why? Because it's all true. Not only has no one sued us, some of the key people named in this book as abusers, Bob Wickman, Jeff Nelson, Mariano Rivera, Brian Cashman, Yankees lawyer Lon Trost, refused to respond to reporters' questions. Why? Because they're guilty, and they know we have evidence, so they hope if they ignore us, we'll go away. Nope, we're not going away. We're here to tell the truth, the facts about the Yankees during the corrupt George Steinbrenner years, the clubhouse gambling, and the philandering, and the forging of autographs, and the illegal business practices that still might be continuing today, who knows. There's something else I want to clarify. The gutter websites, the gossip sites, trashed our book with negative comments without even reading it. So let me make this very clear. After you've read our book, then you can criticize it. Those cowardly sites also had great fun mocking retired players Derek Jeter and Jorge Posada for possibly having a homosexual relationship after they first joined the team. Those two players have had plenty of time to deny it, and they haven't. But don't get angry at us for revealing that possible relationship. It only emerged because it's in legal documents that are in the public record, since Paul was asked in a deposition by a lawyer representing the Yankees if he'd had a homosexual encounter with any players, and under oath he was forced to name Jeter and Posada. By the way, the silence of the gay community regarding this book is baffling. Paul deserves your support. Why aren't you talking about the issue of his gay abuse? When we were writing this book, Paul warned me that gay groups in New York City only support one of their own when he's been pummeled to death or near death. When they visit the victim in the hospital or at his funeral, it's only for a speech and a photo op. Paul told me if the gays know about someone being abused who reports it to them, even with evidence like he did, their reaction tends to be, well, be careful and good luck with that. So I'm challenging the gay media, who have all been told about this book, to come out and say something about it. Support it, for Paul's sake. It's the decent thing to do. As for the silence of the commissioners of Major League Baseball, the now retired Bud Selig and the current one, Rob Manfred, both received letters from us about the extent of the gambling that went on in the Yankees clubhouse day after day, but neither one has done a thing about it, which seems to be the same as condoning it. So listen up, Pete Rose. You weren't the only one who bet on baseball. The Yankees did it too, and might still be doing it today. But the commissioners do nothing about it. Hypocritical double standard? You bet. And in 2013, 2 years before a recent insider betting scandal hit DraftKings, Major League Baseball had invested an undisclosed amount of money in that fantasy sports gambling operation and ran ads for it on the official MLB site. But didn't the new commissioner say that betting on baseball is worse than using steroids? Oh, it seems that only applies to players, whereas the MLB site could offer gambling to the fans, right? I'm confused about the official Major League Baseball stance on gambling, and I bet I'm not the only one. And Joe Torre, now a senior executive at MLB, back in the days when he was Yankees manager with his then-coach Don Zimmer, regularly sent underage bat boys to the off-track betting office to place bets on the horses. You going to deny it, Mr. Torre? He's been silent about all of this, too. On the positive side, a lot of women have bought this book. We thank them and hope they spread the word. Women's groups, battered and abused women, smart women, outspoken women seem to like this book, and you can see some of their reviews on our Facebook page, and I've been told others are on the way. I want to tell everyone in the media, including reporters or talk show hosts who have the balls to write or talk about our book, that we have an audio clip 10 minutes long that Paul secretly recorded when he worked for the Yankees. It proves what he's been saying beyond any doubt. It's in digital form and we'll make it available to you if you ask. Just send a request through our website. We're also considering digitizing other audio tapes. Paul has 548 tapes, all from his days working for the Yankees. Finally, I want to say that Paul is an extraordinary person. We've had hundreds of hours of conversations in putting this book together over an 8-year period. And he has an amazing story to tell, well beyond his incidents of gay abuse. His life has taken many twists and turns, some taking him near death. But he's always managed to survive and learn from his experiences, and he's an inspiration to others. I'm proud to know him. Our website is abusedbytheyankees.com. It's the only place you can get our book. I hope you read it.